Hey friends, Pastor Jeannie here with another devotional video talking about the Gospels. I am so sorry that this video is coming to you a week late. I promise I did not forget about the Gospel of John. I actually was pretty sick last week, and so I wasn't able to make this video and post it and send it out. But I'm feeling better now. I am moved back into the dorms, and so that's the different setting behind me. And I am here this week with the Gospel of John. Before we dive in, I want to take a minute to kind of review the three Gospels we've already talked about. We've been focusing a little bit on each image of Jesus that the different Gospels portray. These images don't come from me, they come from one of my textbooks that I've used as a resource. And in Matthew, we'll start with Matthew. Matthew portrays Jesus as the teacher of Israel. And in Matthew, you see lots of Jesus' teaching. Mark portrays Jesus as a bounding lion, rushing into his ministry fully grown. It focuses more on the actions of Jesus. And then Luke portrays Jesus as a plodding ox, which is to symbolize strength and power, and also to represent Jesus as bearing our burdens. And today we're going to talk about John's image. John portrays Jesus as a great eagle. He's a spiritual bird, fast flying, God seeing, and ascending higher and higher. He paints a very theological image of Jesus in the Gospel of John. And the Gospel of John is the most theological gospel that we have. And so I think that this image is maybe the hardest one for me to wrap my head around, and the Gospel of John arguably is the hardest gospel to understand because it is the most theological gospel. John writes the most theological gospel, focusing on Jesus as the Word, as Lord, as Son of God, and so on. And here, John's not just a biographer, he's a theologian and a preacher. So, a little bit about John. This gospel writer was one of the 12 disciples, and he was one of the inner circle disciples that you see with Jesus when they kind of group up. He was really close to Jesus. And his purpose for writing this gospel, he writes it clear as day in chapter 20, verse 31. I'm going to read that for you. He says, but these are written, and when he's talking about that, he's saying Jesus did lots of things, but the ones that I've written down in this book, these are written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. And fitting in with that purpose, you see words like believe and life, and you see titles like Son or Son of God more in the Gospel of John than in any of the other synoptic Gospels. So, a little more review. The Gospel of John is one of the four Gospels that we have in the New Testament, but it's not one of the synoptic Gospels. There's three synoptic Gospels, and the word synoptic means similar. And so those three Gospels are Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Those three are similar. And then over here you have John, which is not so similar to the other three. In fact, statistically, it's like 92% unique, the Gospel of John is. And so being unique, the Gospel of John gives us a whole nother side of Jesus's story, a different perspective, another opportunity to study and learn more about and grow closer to the God who reveals himself to us in the person of Jesus, the God who became flesh, the God that brings life. One of the best ways that God reveals himself is in the person of Jesus. So spend time with Jesus, spend time in the Gospels. And they're there for us so that we can get to know and believe Jesus and have life. Well, this is my last video, but it's certainly not the last time that I'm going to be studying the Gospels, and I hope it's not the last time that you'll spend time studying the Gospels either. I hope that these last few weeks, these videos have given you an opportunity to learn something new or see something different. Um, and maybe learn something new about Jesus by looking at the different perspectives of Jesus's story. And remember that story, Jesus' story, goes on, and we are invited to be a part of that story. So go and live out the gospel today and every single day.